Let me just once again welcome everybody who have tuned in. And just to say that we have an interesting discussion lineup for you. We still have not reached the number that we would have hoped yet, so we're just holding on a bit more for a few more persons to come on the platform. So thank you, and thanks for your patience. Okay, good afternoon. just like to say a special good afternoon to all those who are present in our discussion this afternoon. Want to take this opportunity to welcome you to this activity as part of our International Women's Day celebration. We are quite aware that International Women's Day will be tomorrow, which happens to be March the 8th. However, the credit union does not open on a Saturday. So we choose to celebrate International Women's Day. In collaboration with Jamaica Cooperative Credit Union League, they publish a feature today highlighting women in leadership position and so on. So we want to big up the Jamaica Cooperative Credit Union League as well. And so we are here doing this as part of an international initiative. And we want to have this discussion to bring awareness and to create for us better homes, better families, and a better society. So this is part of our International Women's Day celebration. We want to hear your views, your thoughts and ideas, and we want to share ours with you. We want to make it as interesting as is possible. So at this time, while we await others, we will continue the discussion and welcome. And we are hoping that others will join in as we go through this evening's proceedings. So at this time, I'm going to pray for this meeting. So wherever you are, I'm going to ask that you close your eyes and I'm going to offer a few words of prayer for us all. Heavenly Father, as we come before you in your presence, we ask that you bless us. We ask that you guide our thoughts, guide our mind. Help us to be mindful of the perceptions of others. Help us to put forth our ideas and our ideals in a way that is respectful to each and every one on this platform. Help us so that when we would have left here this evening, we would have learned something, we would have felt a little bit more empowered, we would have had a better understanding of the feminine gender and also the masculine gender, as it is your will for us to work together in an harmonious relationship. Thank you again. And we say thanks again. And we are grateful for your intervention. Have mercy on us, we pray, dear Lord. Amen. Thanks again. So now that we have evoked the presence of the Holy Spirit, we will continue. So let me once again welcome each and everyone on the platform. I'm seeing some persons that I know, some I am not so sure I know them. Right. So as we go through, we just ask each person to just introduce themselves. Tell us briefly about yourself, and then we will continue our discussion. Are you all hearing me? I'm asking Mr.
Yes, sir, I am hearing you.
Okay. All right. Yes, can we ask that just persons on the platform be identified? Or if you want me to go through and then we just spotlight persons as, you know, they are being identified.
Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening and welcome.
Good evening. My name is
Good afternoon.
my name is Nicole. I am a teacher. I teach 4-year-olds. Hello.
Yes, we're hearing you.
That's the end of my introduction.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Next person, please. I'm seeing Ms. Sharon Harris. Could you just please give us a brief introduction.
Good evening. My name is Sharon Toto Harris. I am the sports officer for the
Harris,
parish of
I'm not
Portland
hearing
with
you
the
at all.
Institute of-
Could you check your audio?
Oh, one second.
Still not hearing you, Miss Harris. So let me do the introduction then for Miss Harris. She's Miss Sharon Harris, most popularly known as Miss Toto. All right. So while she works on her bit of technical difficulties, I think we'll get back to her in a matter of a few minutes as she tried to sort out her audio stream because we're really not hearing her. She's the sports officer for the parish of Portland, and she wears a number of different caps. So she's also part of the Changing the Game male empowerment movement, one of the leaders in that movement. Changing the Game male empowerment movement, and we are happy to have her with us. We're hoping that she will sort out her audio stream in a bit. Can we move on to the next person, please? Is Miss Ashley Hutchinson there?
Good afternoon. Yes, I am. I didn't chime in because I am driving, so I was waiting until I parked to talk. But good afternoon, everyone. And my name is Sasha Lee Hutchinson, and I practice law in our beautiful parish. And I am happy to be here and to be a part of this discussion with everyone.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Hutchinson. Next we have
Good evening, everyone. The name is Michael Morrison. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
I'm an HR specialist, and I also have training in social work.
Okay, thank you. Next we have
Excuse me, everybody is introducing themselves.
yes, Ms. Murdoch.
I was out because I'm on my phone sometimes. I'm out.
Yeah,
So
we're
my
just
name
asking you to say a briefly who you are and so on.
Okay, my name is Shelley-Ann Murdoch, and I am the guidance counselor at Boundbrook Infant School in Portland.
Okay. All right, thanks and welcome. Anybody else? All right, let's continue and hope that others will join in as we proceed. Now, International Women's Day has been celebrated for many, many years right across the globe. And this year is no exception. Saturday, the 8th of March is being celebrated as International Women's Day. And today being the 7th is the day preceding the 8th, where the Portland Cooperative Credit Union, along with other credit unions, are celebrating International Women's Day. So there are some things, and we are celebrating that under the theme, accelerated action as it relates to gender equity. And we're saying, is it that there's a disparity in terms of gender equity? That's one of the questions that we'd love to ask and to get answered this evening. The theme for this year says accelerated action as it relates to gender equity. Is there a disparity between gender equity? Share your views with us and tell us, what are your thoughts?
Mr. Chairman, yeah, I think that my view is quite simple. I think that there is a wide disparity between the men and the women in the workplace. The disparity is so wide that it is a cause for concern, you know? But as it's Women's Day, yeah, I want to celebrate the women. I want to encourage them, yes, to be good wives and to continue to pursue getting good king man. Thank you.
Okay. All right, but I would really love to hear, the thoughts of our women. Because today is their special day, so we want to hear their thoughts on the matter, just to initiate the discussion. But I want to bring to the attention of this forum that even the president of the Jamaica Cooperative Credit Union League, which is the umbrella organization for credit unions, there is a woman at the helm, at the head of the decision making. So the president of the Jamaica Cooperative Credit Union League is Miss Andrea Messam. Yes, she's a woman. So in Jamaica, we have lots of women who are in decision making positions, who have certain level of authority that's way supersedes that which some of our men holds. So we have to give them credit. And if I may just read a little bit of what she wrote as her message for International Women's Day, I'm going to read from what she wrote. She said, "And let us not forget, men also have a critical role to play in this journey. True progress requires teamwork. We must work together, men and women, to create an environment where everyone can thrive. When we show favor to one another, we all raise. Let us continue to sharpen each other and to uplift each other so we'll all can thrive. Together we can accelerate action and create movement that truly reflects the power of inclusivity and cooperation. And to all women working tirelessly to leave your mark on the world, your efforts are not in vain. Your dedication, resilience, and vision inspires those around you. Keep going. Happy International Women's Day. Miss Andrea Messam, President of Jamaica Cooperative Credit Union League." So we're saying, ladies and gentlemen, that we have in Jamaica many women who are in leadership function, leadership roles, making decisions, and at the end of the decision making in many organizations in Jamaica. All right? Do you think that gender equity, again, is there a disparity between men and women? You can share your views with us. What do you think, Miss Harris? You want to weigh in on that point?
Yes.
I want to weigh that point too.
All right, so that's Miss Murdoch.
Yes, but go ahead, Miss Harris.
All right, so we take Miss Harris first, and then we followed by.
Okay. Are you hearing me now?
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear now.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I want to
Good evening.
say thumbs up to all the ladies on the platform. Of course, I do hope that you will have a wonderful Women's Day tomorrow. And I want to wish you all the best going forward. I have a serious problem as it relates to gender equity and the disparity between male and female. And my reason for that is because I see that it has become societal norm whereby our men are seriously, and I mean seriously, marginalized. I leave it there for now, and I'll get back to the discussion as the need arises.
Okay, thank you, Miss Harris. Can we have Miss Shelley-Ann Murdoch now weighing in on that? Your thoughts?
Yes, good evening again. All right, so I watched something on Instagram the other day, and it says that a baby, older person, and a woman, they all have a soft spot for everybody. So they'll get away with anything. Just do a puppy dog eye and they'll get away with anything. But yet still, if a woman is at the head of an institution, there are some persons that think that institution is weak because a woman is at the head.
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear. But just to say that that's their perception.
Yes. Oh, and with driving too, Mr. Morris, with driving too, a car ever pass you, or you're trying to pass a car and say, I must want woman to drive that?
Yes.
Yes.
We do that sometimes.
Yeah.
But my observation though is that on the roads, it is my view. I mean, other persons may have other different experiences, but it is my view that we don't get blind from women on the roads. And my reason for saying that is that most times the females expect to get the blinds. You know, so even if you know we're driving and we're not driving so badly, but we find ourselves in an awkward situation whilst driving, we ought not to expect to get. So whenever I get a blind from a female driver on the road, I blow them and I give them the thumbs up, because it's so well appreciated when it does happen.
I don't think women is not blind. They don't give in. Sometimes they just don't know how to do it. Yeah, I mean, when I was a young driver, coming along, I couldn't give blind because in my head somebody going to look up in my back or my front. So I'm just saying that was for me. I can do it now because I am better at driving, but I couldn't do it.
Oh, you could not have done it before.
Right. Well, that's for me.
Okay. Anybody else want to weigh in on the discussion?
Yes, Mr. Yes, it's Miss Hutchinson.
Yeah.
So, my take on the issue of gender equity, I realize that there are similar terms, equity and equality.
Yes.
And I think that they refer to not just the perception of the sexes, but the opportunity given to them for each sex to be able to be their best or to actualize. So when we talk about equality, it's as if you have a table with 3 persons and you give each person the same amount of food on the plate. That's equality, right? But equity refers to giving each person what they need. So maybe a baby wouldn't get rice and peas and chicken. They would get baby food. And the adult, if they are diabetic, probably wouldn't get any cake. They would get something that contains less sugar, and somebody else would get a different serving. Depending on their needs, the meal is prepared to help them to be at their best. Right. So in my view, gender equity, or when we're discussing equity, we're looking at whether or not in our society, in our Jamaican society, are our women and our men, because we can't cater to one without the other. We're just recycling the problem all over again. But are we identifying the needs, the things that are necessary to help our women and girls perform at their best, to protect them? And are we providing for our men and acknowledging the needs of our young men to help them to be at their best? So it's not just giving everybody the same thing and putting everybody in the same space, even though sometimes that is what's necessary. But do we understand what our women need in a Jamaican society? Do we understand what our men need in a Jamaican society? And so that is where we can start our discussion as to what each group needs presently for them to be at their best and to protect them as well.
And I must say, I really like that analogy, Ms. Hutchinson. I never thought about it like that, because oftentimes when I hear people speak about gender equity, almost more often than not, it connotes that there's a disparity in terms of equity and that women are being disfranchised. Almost always connotes that women are being disfranchised, And my perception is that that is not so true. I think, but I must really thank you for a very, very salient point, a very valid point. I am thinking though that we spend a lot more time, emphasis, and monies saying that even when we look at the commercial advertisement that our tax dollars pay for, it says, let us protect women and children. I don't know if you have seen that ad, national advertisement campaign saying,
Yeah.
let us protect our women and children, or let us protect women and girls.
Women
And
and girls.
oftentimes that does not include the boys or the
Yes.
men. And I think that for a government to be spending from our national budget on an ad like that, I think that is an imbalance in our society.
Yes. Yes, I agree. I agree with that. I think that it could be a form of overcorrection because we have to acknowledge that at many parts of our history, not just Jamaica and the world, women were disenfranchised. Women, we started out where women were in the home or expected to be in the home. And then, a lot of imbalance came out of that. And
Yes.
so I think things were being done to acknowledge, abuse, even there's certain rights women didn't have. I think I heard somebody refer to something they saw on Instagram. I think sometime online I saw that they said even women's clothes didn't have pockets at one
Yeah.
point because what you need a pocket for? You're a woman, you don't have
That's
nothing in a
interesting.
pocket. Yes, if I find it, I'll send it to you. So women, historically women had in some cases we were in opulent positions, and in some cases historically, women were at the bottom. And so I think subsequent governments and organizations are trying to correct that. But I think in trying to correct it, we have gotten to a point where we are paying so much attention in one way and then we forgot about the other side. So I think in order to protect our women, we also have to acknowledge our boys, because if they are the other side of the equation that we must interact with. They are our sons, they are our fathers, they are our husbands, they are our partners. So we can't just fix part and leave part. You're going to have another problem again. So it comes back to know what we were saying. What do our boys need? Because if we still subscribe to men being leaders, and women are also leaders, there's a coming from the church, there's a mentality that the men should be the head. We don't have to subscribe to that, but if we want to partner with our men, then they have to be whole, they have to be well, they have to be right. So if we're not paying attention to them and we're only catering to the girls, then there's going to be another problem. So with violence, with how boys learn, how they process things emotionally, they need men who are more balanced to stand in that gap and address our boys.
Right.
Not just right.
I spoke to a lady, sat with me in my office sometime late last year. She wanted a loan, and we were looking at her ability. We're doing assessment to see if she could get the loan. And while we were there, I spoke to her, and she what she said to me, and I was moved by her suggestion. She said, if I did have a boy pick me up, I run, we left them and go foreign and go work, And that's how she said it with a lot of emphasis, because she has two girls, right? One is 15 and the other one is about 12, and she was saying, had they been boys? So what this said to me is that our girls get a lot more attention, or a little bit more attention, than our boys. And as a result, they get a lot more care, a lot of more attention spent on them during their developmental phase.
That's
While our boys are sometimes neglected. I recall when I was much younger, even though I'm not so old still, but when I was much younger, the girls get to stay in the house and the boys have to go outside, you know, you'd hear parents, boy, look at the door, while the girls get to stay inside. So we have to look at how social culture and social construct dictates how we are to treat the different genders, you know. So we have to be mindful of that as well. Anybody else want to
Madam
add?
Chairperson, Mr. Chairperson, yes.
Yes.
I just want to add quickly that I think the government is becoming knowledgeable of these things now, to the degree wherein, do you know that boys and parts get more money than girls?
That's new to me. That's new to me. I'm just now being made aware of that.
Yes, because they see where the boys are falling behind. And the study conclude that economically, and I must make a disclaimer, it is not me say so. Economically, our male contributes more to our GDP.
Yes.
So if we have a system where our males are failing, then we are going to have a failing system.
If it continues in the long run.
In the long run. So this is one of the reasons why the government take the initiative to ensure that the boys are in schools, the boys are doing well, and so on. So this is part of the effort on the government's part to ensure that our boys get some amount of attention in order to strive.
Okay. The other thing I want to add to that, though, is that if you look at the expenses of the boys, or you compare a comparative analysis between that of the girls, to buy a shoes for a male is a lot more expensive than that of a girl. All right? To buy certain basic things for boys are a little bit more expensive than, you know, for a girl. So we have to also be mindful of that as well. I have heard, though, that I heard Miss Harris spoke sometime about how boys learn, that boys learn quite differently also from girls. And she often made mention of the fact that boys don't like school, but they like to learn. So I don't know if Miss Harris wants to expound on that a little bit for us.
Yes, I would have realized that a long time ago, you know, having the opportunity, having been given the opportunity to coach little boys. As a matter of fact, it was voluntarily done. And I would have seen them come to, you know, training, showing physical signs of abuse, you know. You could see the impression of the beating and, you know, the slap and stuff like that. And then when I became very inquisitive, they would tell me that, you know, their stepfather did it to them, most of them stepmother, sometimes even mother and father, bigger brother, bigger sister did it to them. So, you know, I would often wonder what these little boys could have done. And I'm talking about 6, 7, 8 years old to deserve all of this, you know. So, you know, right there and then my passion for little boys chipping and start to try to understand them some more, try to comfort them and so forth. And then I started to do my research, and then I realized that when I spoke with bigger boys, they too were abused. Big men, they too were abused. Old men, they too were abused. And older men, they also were abused. So I realized that there is a vicious cycle of abuse towards our men and boys, but nobody really talks about it. When we speak of abuse, we speak of women and girls. And now, as we can see, the crime and violence in our society is really out of control. And we realize there and then that the seeds that we planted many years ago, we are now reaping the fruits, because those little abused boys they go to be big abusive men. And therefore, it tells us that we need to start in the home. The abuse starts in the home. That's number one, because I honestly believe that in most homes, the mothers are our boys' first abuser and they are their first bully. And therefore, at that level, we start to mute our boys. And now we see the finished product. You know, our boys cannot even speak out and speak up. They can't even verbalize their thoughts. They can't express themselves because we mute them from way too soon. So we really have
And I want to add to that too, Miss Harris. You find that the behavioral problems in the school, as small as 4 and 5 years old, they most of the times are with the boys.
Yes. And a lot of the times, there are reasons for their outbursts in their behavior. You know, maybe some of them looking for love, they're looking for attention, and the list goes on. You see, but when we talk about love, we think about our little girls, forgetting really that our little boys need love too. You know, so they act out and act up because they want some attention and sometimes just a little love. So I think we need to be a little bit more gentle with our boys as with our girls, because both of them really need loving, tender care. Thank you.
All right, very well said, very well said. So we're saying that gender equity, is it a thing? Or has it changed? Or is there a balance? Or are we seeing a balance in terms of, you know, how society as a whole treat both gender? Is that what we are saying? Or are we saying that women are still being disfranchised? Or are we saying that it is changing or it has changed?
I want to weigh in on that again. You know, it has not changed. It is changing. If it is changing very slow. It is changing very slow because when you look at our boys, most of them are really left behind. Take, for example, if you have a little boy and a little girl and both of them running down the road and both of them fall, all of us on the platform is going to run and pick up who? The little girl, of course. Yes, we're going to pick up the little girl and we're going to say to the little boy, get up, your boy, you know, for ball. Your ball like your girl. Get up, you're for rough, you're for tough. What are you really saying to that little boy at that tender age? You're really saying to him that you should not show signs of pain. You should not show signs of hurt. You must be rough. You must be tough. And you're also saying to him that whenever you're hurting, don't say a word. Don't cry.
You should just keep it inside.
Just keep it inside. And then that is stored somewhere. And then he continues to store and store and store. Anger, everything is built up and just get trapped right there because we ask them to store it. And I can tell you that when they continue to store and store, months upon months, years upon years, when it is coming out, trust me, it's going to be very, very explosive. And not only that, but no one will be spared. Sometimes not even themselves. So we have to be very careful because what we put in is what we're going to take out.
Right. So you're saying that abusive boys are going to be abusive men. Abused boys are going to be abusive men. And
yes.
Abused girls are going to be abusive women.
Yes, definitely. And that's so you have to be careful how we treat them, especially at that tender age. Because
hello,
the guidance counselor or the teacher on the platform I don't know if you want to weigh in on that.
Yes, she said she want to weigh in on it. So we take Miss Buckley.
Also on the same topic of the little boys, we don't allow them to show emotions. So we have a lot more boys committing suicide
Yes.
than girls because boys do not know how to express all the feelings that they have built up inside of them. We never teach them to be expressive. Girls are born instinctively expressive. They are born knowing how to express themselves. Boys, on the other hand, were not. And we've been to I have been to a seminar where they were talking about it that even in the homes as babies, the mothers, we don't love on little boys the way we love on little girls. The way we'll say, oh, I want to buy this for my little girl. And we dress them up and we show them love and they say, oh, you're so cute. We don't do that for little boys. And it takes away from their ability to express themselves freely as well. And that is something that we have to work on. So in my classroom, I treat all of them the same way. If it's a boy, if he falls, I say, come here, handsome. I have a little boy, I call him handsome every day, and he does not know how to respond to it. He ended up asking his mom, Mommy, why teacher always call me handsome? Because he didn't know how to deal with that. And so she said, Teacher, you want to tell him why you call him handsome? And I explained it to him that girls are pretty and mommy says their sister is pretty all the time, don't it? And he says, yes. And I say, did she tell you that you're a handsome boy? And he only smiled. I said, no, she doesn't, does she? Well, teacher is telling you you're so handsome. And he looks forward to hearing that now. That when he does something and I don't call him handsome, he asks, teacher, when I handsome. So they don't get the opportunity to express themselves, and we really ought to work at helping parents overall because it was how we were raised, really, that we this is the same raising our the knowledge we impart on our children. So we were not taught to help our little boys to express themselves. And so we need to, like, during our seminars with our parents and our PTAs, we need to tell them that it is okay to love on your son. It is okay to say to him, I love you so much, and hug him and teach him how to hug back. Because some of them, they don't know how to hug back. They look at you, they just stand there sometimes.
Right. And they don't know how to love because
They
they don't
don't
get
know
it.
how to love.
They just don't know how to love.
They
And
don't
this
know how
brings
to
me to a
accept it,
point.
and they don't know how to give it
If,
back.
right. If I may interject, sometime in the States, sometime about maybe a year or two ago, there was a little boy in the States who told his parents that he wants his gender to be reassigned. So they went and they sent for psychiatrists and so on to talk to him, and psychologists to talk to him. And you know what the young man said? The young man said he saw the love that they gave to his sister. That's the kind of love he wants, and that is why he wants his gender to be reassigned. So I'm saying we need to love our boys, and we need to show them love. We need to let them feel love, instead of showering all the girls with all the gifts and all the sweet talk. And so we need to do it to our boys as well. Let them feel love, let them feel appreciated. And when they do things that are good, but I want to throw a curveball out there though. Between men or women, who is better at managing the finances of the home? Let me repeat, because I don't think you heard me, I thought I would have come under fire for raising that one. We're asking in terms of the finances for the home, which gender is better at managing the finances of the home? Is it the male or the female?
I think I want to take that.
Yes.
But before I give my answer, I want to give a little explanation.
Yes.
my experience has taught me that we teach little girls how to spend money, how to manage money. We did not teach our little boys how to spend. We teach our girls how to save money. We teach our boys how to save money. We teach our girls how to spend money and manage it properly. But we didn't teach our boys how to spend it and manage it properly. You know, we just teach them how to save it and then they know they have to spend it. But what I'm saying, having said that, I would have to say that females are better money managers because I think that they were taught how to from very early. And that is why I think our men spend so lavishly when they do, you know, because you selling something, you would much rather a man to come and buy than a woman because the woman is going to cry down the price and, you know, when the man will just pluck out whatever you say is the cost, he just give it to you. And if that is not the case and he try and cry down the price, they say my mama man and then my sister man and then my girl. So prevent all of that and just take out the money or whatever you say it is for, he will pay it. So therefore, I would want to give the props to the female in this case, Mr. Morris. I'm
All right,
sorry.
if I may have, and thanks for that comment.
Hello?
Thanks for that comment, yes.
All right, so I want to say that whilst all that is true, men buy what they need and nothing else.
Very
You
good.
send them out there and you send them go get one thing. They, in our heads as females, and it happens a lot. I send my husband out there and we both went into the fridge, right? And we both know that I need onions and I also need sweet pepper because I love putting sweet pepper in the pot. However, I expect him to buy the sweet pepper, but I didn't say that. I will say to him, I need some onions and things. He goes out there and he buys onions and he brings that back. Nothing else. So in some instances, while we female will go out there and remember the onion and the sweet pepper and the tomatoes and the scallion that gonna look like it's soon finished, so might as well top up. Men just buy what they need.
Well, you know, interestingly though, I did a survey, a research on savings here at my credit union. One of the things we found out is that women save a lot more than men. Interesting.
Why? Why is that?
We're not sure. I think men works the money sometimes and they bring it home to their wives or their spouse or their girlfriends and so on.
May I interject?
Yes.
Yes, one of these fundamental reasons is that when we look at the stats for the public sector workers, 83% of the public sector workers are female, and only a mere 17% are males. So if you are in a society where most of the females are working in comparison to the males, you're gonna have a greater female savings rate.
That is true.
Not only that, but also to the fact that women are natural receivers and men are natural givers. So you'll find that a woman will get his salary and the man will give him something on it. To the contrary, a man will get his salary and give, but the woman will not get her salary and give to the man.
Not at all.
Not at all. So these are some of the reasons why it is that you would find a higher savings rate for women.
For women. That's true. That's true. I'm trying to think of other contributory factors that if you look at how men spend, sometimes men spend just to get the women off the back, you know. So the woman will want something and you'll find no peace until you say, all right, here, you're going back, just get them off because you want peace. While the men, for some men, it's kind of different, you know. What say you? Because what I do know is that women will ask you for something today, and if it's not forthcoming, they ask you for tomorrow, and then they ask you for tomorrow evening, they ask you for the next day in the morning, and they continue to ask. So if you want that kind of peace, you just provide the money and get it off and get it over with. And if I was to go back to biblically now, biblically, it says the women who takes care, or the wife who takes care of her husband financially, that is now, right, does so with much hunger and much reproach. So it's not typifies of what women ought to be doing. They are not such giving as men would have been. And it has been so since the beginning of time, because we had to give a rib in order so we can get a woman. Anybody else want to weigh in on that one?
And women, we don't like to be in a relationship where it's 50-50. We don't want to pay half of the bills. We want the men to pay all the bills, and we do what we want with money, like shopping.
That's true. But sometimes, you know, they don't want to admit that either. You know, sometimes they really don't want to admit that either.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes, good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon.
My perspective on how to organize the family's income. We are to see the income of the male and the female as the family's income. And we both should pool our resources together, and the budget should be made together so that no one is
Is that a disadvantage?
Right, that disadvantage. So we should do the budget
Even
together.
though I'd agree to that.
Yeah.
Even though I would agree to that. In today's sphere.
Let me finish.
I would still have to have a bank account somewhere for myself.
Who is that? I don't reach the account as yet. I am saying that the resources should be pulled together, and then we make the budget together so that all of us know, so that there'll be no animosity, because we are one. The male and the female become one when they dwell together, and that is how the Bible intends it to be. And when we break away from that, there will be problems. We are to be parent so that all of us can be in the know, and all of us will be at a comfort level, so that we are not hiding from each other. Where it ought to be. And that's how the Bible said it out. So if it's a marathon to quote the Bible, then that is how it is intended to be. All right? So where people think that the woman should either wear her money and should save her own money, it is not right, and it is not fair to the man. Men are our partners, and we should treat them as such. Men are to be given attention. Men are to be given a fair share of the female income as well. If we would dwell together, then all expenses should be shared. If the male earns more, that is why we pull together. Because in some instances, in most instances, the male earn more. And also, an amount should be decided on for saving. At least 20% of the family's income should be set aside for savings for the future. And there should be transparency. All persons will be protected. The children and everyone will be protected, and that's my take on it.
Whilst I might agree with the last speaker, I still have one little account to myself somewhere where nobody don't know about.
Yeah.
And in case
You
anything,
just say who
and in
feels
case,
it knows it.
and in case anything should happen to you, where would the wife look to?
But
If
I want to, just to bring this to the forefront of the discussion, that if a woman saves her money and uses her husband's money to survive and then move away from the matrimonial home, they'd say, oh, that's a smart girl, good girl, you just did it well.
well, that's not the intent.
If a man does the same thing, well, I'm a miser and I'm mean and I'm wicked. We have heard it all before. What say you?
Mr. Morrison, the intent is to be bonded together for life. That is what the intention of marriage is about, to be bonded together for life.
Yes.
However, if problem comes, then just and the law has it right. The law has it right. If problems come, everything should be shared equally. The law has it right.
Because I'm going to Chile for the weekend. There's any time when
I'm hearing something in the background there.
But the law, and I would like the lawyer to weigh in on this, because most of the times when case go to the court with husband and wife, it's the wife wanting half of what the husband has. Normally a husband don't take a wife to the court. I might be wrong, but
we go ahead and do the donation letter.
Hearing some other conversation in the meeting.
Could you copy of what we have?
Please check to see your microphone if you're not speaking on this platform. Please check to see what is happening, because we're hearing another conversation here. Yes, we can continue. So we were saying, the point we were making, when the interference came, was that where women do penny picking and save their funds and move away from the matrimonial home. They say, oh, you're a smart girl. That's a good girl. Go girl, you do it. But if the reverse,
yes, we won't have like
it came through. Then the man wicked and him mean and him a miser and so on.
We won't have a one flight. That's not going to work out, because everybody is working on
Can we ask that the persons in the meeting please check in your background? I'm hearing another conversation that we shouldn't have been hearing in the platform. Could you please check for me?
Can you mute? Ask the person to mute their mic.
Yes, we're getting a feedback here. I'm asking that those persons who are not participating in the meeting, please. And I'm seeing a comment here. It says, women are better money managers. I have heard that, but I beg to differ. And I will agree with Miss Buckley, who says that, women are emotional beings and they tend to spend impulsively, while men focus more so on just their bare necessity or necessities, right? But, and I want to say this, guys, that women, it is my view or our view, well, my view, that women should complete their men, not compete with their men. What say you on that one? So throwing that one out again. Women should complete their men or their husbands, not compete with them. And if I may add, a little bit more fruit on that, is to say that we all have strength in our own ways, right? Some more than the other. But when we group together, when we come together, we are a force to reckon with, right? If I may recall, I think the Bible says that a dangerous woman will tear down our whole house, our own house with our own hands. Something to that effect, I think maybe those who are more biblically inclined could weigh in on that one. Melvin?
As you said, we are emotional beings, but we as women have to be careful and exercise self-control so that we don't go overboard when we are hurt, or if anything is happening that is untoward in the family. We should manage every area of our lives in a way that will bring honor to the marriage. So if something is amiss, then it should be carefully managed, and manage ourselves, manage our emotions, not to beat down the man, not to embarrass the man, because it is said that when male are embarrassed, they take longer to heal. So female should exercise caution whenever they're upset, count to 10, manage their emotions so that the man's ego is protected. So as female, I am expecting all of us that are here to manage every area of our lives so that the man's ego is always protected, whether it is finance, whether it is social issues, whether it is economic issues, whatever issues it is, we should have and exercise self-control. And these are the issues that cause homes to be broken, because female will sometimes often blow things out of control. It is better to have it settled among yourself than to bring in third party, not even your children. Have it settled among yourself, because when you're able to forgive your spouse, your family and friends won't forgive them. So I caution us as females, to settle the matter with your husband. Whatever disagreement comes up, talk it over, and remember that you are family, and the family should be protected at all costs and at all times.
Very well said, Melvin, but that's not the perception of all.
Well,
you know, that's how it ought to be, but that's not the perception of all. Do we have any other divergent view on that matter?
Hi, Mr. Morrison. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Wallace here.
Welcome.
Okay, thank you for having me. So you said that women are supposed to compliment men, not to compete with them.
Yes.
So my view on that now, in most cases, I haven't seen where a woman is competing. It's the other way around.
Yes. You want to expound on that a little bit for us?
Men are competing with women because they have so men have actually forced women to wear the pants. Because if you want to say biblical speaking, men are the one that is supposed to go out and work back then. Yes. Right? They're the one that used to go out and work to be the breadwinner. But in most cases now, I see where a woman is the breadwinner. Woman is the one that is the head of the household. So women have been forced to take the higher position in society. So therefore, you'll get a better pay. Where most of the men will be like, do their little farming, do their little business. So therefore, they earn a little less. Yes. So therefore, if there's an argument sometimes, they always want to tend to raise the voice. And if you talk a little higher than them, they said, oh, you think that you work more money than me? And so I don't think it's the woman that is competing, it's the men that is competing. Right, so therefore...
Let me put it another way. Let me put it another way now. There's a reason why men have this low bass voice, and why women have this fine feminine voice, that's high-pitched voice. There's a reason for it. I think men are stronger in some areas. Women are stronger in some areas. So how I see it is that we should complement each other, where your weakness becomes my strength and my weakness becomes your strength. The areas in which I am weak in, that's where you should pick up and function. And the areas that you are weak in, I am certain you can lift 2 bags of cement.
That's true.
And I am certain I can lift both at the same time. I lift up one first, then the other. So I'm saying this to say that we were made that way. There are things that men are better at doing, and there are things that women are better at doing, right? The other curveball I want to throw in the mix is that research has shown that a child coming out of a single parent's household that is headed by a male is 90% more likely to be successful, whilst children coming out of a single parent's household that is headed by a female is 90% more likely to end up in our penal institution. And then that led me to ask, then if that research is true, why not, when there's a separation between husband and wives, all right, that the child or the children is not giving to the husband? Let me throw that one out there. Anybody want to weigh in on that one?
I think that first to comments, Mr. Moderator, I think that the feminist movement was too successful, right? And society is biased in favor of women. And that is why they cater to women in a particular way, where they feel that everything that the woman does is glamorized, while what the man does is bad. For example, if a man don't want a short woman to be his wife, they say it's misogynistic. But if a woman wants a guy who is 6 feet tall, they say it's a preference, right? So everything that woman wants to do, it's glamorized, while everything a man wants to do is stigmatized, right? So a woman can say, oh, I don't have to work, I spend his money, he take care of me, and they will even clap her and cheer for her. But if a man should say, oh, I'm a stay-at-home dad, she has to take care of me, they would boo him, right? So I'm saying this to say that the society is stratified in such a way where woman is congratulated for their egotistical ways, yes, while man is flogged. It's the same way, you know, if the statistic is showing by your last argument that the better results come from a single male home or where there's both parents. So why it is then, again, that if there's a separation, you don't give to the men. So men are penalized for being good fathers, right? Because the law is going to look at who spends the most time with the children, and that's the female. And most of the time, the men don't spend the least time with the children because of choice. It's because they are working. So we can't keep pandering to women and say, okay, everything woman does is good, right? We have to understand the dynamics of what is happening out there. And then we can say, okay, we can put this measure in place, or we should have done this differently because of the research that we do and the empirical data that was gathered, right? But it is clear that our men are penalized for being good fathers.
Okay, very well said.
And Mr. Morrison, on that note where you said the men, a single man parenting, you said that they'll be more successful. For me to argue this now, I would say in a home where a mother is, the children are being pampered, they are being nurtured, they are being cared for. Some level of independence maybe would have been taken away when it comes on to preparing meals. So when you grow up in a home with a father, they are forced to cook for themselves, they are forced to wash for themselves, so they are more independent. So in the mother home now, the independence has been taken away from them because you'll be coming home to dinner because mom will do that. Mom will iron for you. And then now being with the father now, they're preparing you for the world because you're there growing yourself, because they're just givers. They'll come home, give you the money. You have to cook, you have to wash. So therefore, in a sense, the father is actually preparing you for the world. Mother will tell you, said, when you go out there, you're going to have to do this for yourself, not allowing you to practice from now. But the father will actually force it for you to do. So in that case, I would say yes, but they are not nurtured. They are not nurturing them. They just force them
Miss
to be
Wallace,
independent.
Miss Wallace,
Yes,
can I say something?
Sure you may.
sure.
Whilst that might be true for some cases, it's not true for all cases. I had to live with my dad at a point in my life. And to this very day, I am 30 something, 30 plus, I don't clean my shoes. I don't clean my shoes and I don't like washing. I wash because I have to under my mom, but my husband still wipe off my shoes to me because me did lay that law from the morning. Say, look here, from a little bit to now, my daddy cleans my shoes. I don't clean my shoes. I don't even look on that shoes at evening time. He put down properly in a corner and waiting for my dad to come and clean it. And my dad was that dad that washed. I did not wash. And I was old enough because I was like 10. I was old enough. Because before that, I was with my mom and I had to wash my little tights and my little socks them because they're dark. And my ribbons because I wore ribbons. I had to wash those. My dad, I did none of that. I don't do nothing. All I did, I come in, I had to just make sure my homework was done, and that was that. I didn't do anything. So, um, some some households, both points work. Both points work.
It's all based on the upbringing.
But also, a dad cannot be a mom, and a mom cannot be a dad.
Yes.
There's things that a mom has to teach the children, and there are things that a dad has to. I have children that are not from my current husband, and before my husband was with me, I tried to be mom and dad, and I was failing miserably, and I didn't even recognize it because in myself I was doing the
But
best
it's
that I
just important that you recognize it and admit it, because
when
there are
my
many women
husband
who will tell you that they are
yeah,
mom and dad,
I
and
was
I just
I
say
was
to
one of
them that
those
you're just a good mom.
I was one of those and I was proud. When anybody say anything, oh, right now I'm me and mommy and daddy in this house. That is not real. It's our coping mechanism. It is not even for the children, it is for ourselves as parents, as mothers. It is our own coping mechanism. But it's not so. Mothers can never be that. And there are so many things that a dad has, especially for a little girl. I think it's for a little boy, especially for a little girl. There's so many things that a dad has to show her that we're biased, especially to love. We are biased towards how our what love should be toward, and we show that to our little girls, and we create some little girls that we should not be proud of. But when a dad comes in the picture and shows that little girl, as a good dad, let me also say that a good dad comes in the picture and he shows that little girl how to love and how to be loved. It makes a difference. And then for a boy, a good dad can show him how to show love.
Yes, very
Are
well
we
said,
following?
Miss Buckley. It's just important that, for us to have holistic development in our kids, it requires both gender. It requires both a mom and a dad working together. And the Bible say, I would prefer if you stay together even for the children's sake. That's what the good book says. So it's important for us to have that kind of holistic development in our kids, because mom is going to teach them how to cook, how to wash, how to sew, how to clean, how they must brush their teeth and keep themselves proper proper hygiene, and so on. But men are going to teach them other things. We're going to teach them how to swim. We're going to teach them how to ride bicycle. We're going to teach them how to hunt. We're going to teach them how to build things, build a cottage, build a little house, build a hut. So there are two different things that we're going to be teaching our kids, and I think we are strong in one area, and the females are strong in other areas, and that is why we should complement each other if we want to have that kind of holistic development in our kids. Anybody else want to weigh in on that? I heard a question was asked earlier. I don't remember what asked the question, but I direct that question to Miss Hutchinson. I don't know who that person was. I don't remember. No? All right, let me try another
Was it,
curveball.
was it the question? I'm sorry, was it the question about the division of marital assets?
Yes, yes, and I'd
Yeah.
love for you to weigh in on that for us.
Okay, so there is, I think most people would know, or some people on the platform would know, that the legislation or the law that governs the division of marital assets is PROSA, Property Rights of Spouses Act. And it was brought in because before that we were just relying on English and the English law. But it was brought in especially to assist women who were not working in the household. And so when they separated from their spouses, the husband will go to court and say, well, she didn't contribute to buying the house. She didn't pay financially to the purchase of the house or to other property. And so she can't take my house from me. So what the legislatures in Jamaica said was, no, if a woman is at home contributing, taking care of the home, raising the children, that is her contribution and it is weighed equally with financial contribution. So now when women go to court, they can use the fact that they're taking care of the home, that they're being wives and mothers as their contribution, even though it's not financial, so that they can claim a part of the matrimonial home. But as we're talking about whether or not these things are biased towards women, because it does sound that way, both spouses can use that legislation. Both parties can use that legislation equally. So the men can also speak of their contribution to the matrimonial home. They can speak to what they have been doing and use that, even if it's not financial, and use that as their contribution as well. So it's mostly women that ask for the division, but it's not only women that do it. So both of them are benefiting from the legislation. I don't know if that answered the question.
Yes, I think it does to some extent. It does to some extent. But we are seeing though, where research has pointed us in the direction that most Jamaican women, maybe about 70–80% of Jamaican women, marry up, meaning that they marry to men who are in a better social class than themselves. That's in general. So, and Jamaican men marry down for whatever reason. I think it has to do with, male authority and so forth and so on. But research has shown that Jamaican women marry up. Anybody want to weigh in on that one?
Anthony, women marrying up is referred to as what we call hypergamy.
Yes.
Right? I'm gonna give you an example. If you have a 45-year-old attorney at law who is earning 7 digits, male, as opposed to a virgin who is 20–25, right? Virgin male, 20–25. And you ask a woman which one she will choose. 90% of our women will choose the established lawyer who's making 7 digits, who have been through 100 women. Right? Now, if you ask a man, given the same statistic, given the same data, an established female lawyer at 45, earning 7 digits, as opposed to a 20-year-old virgin, he would choose the 20-year-old virgin.
Interesting.
All right.
Interesting analogy. Anybody else have anything to say on that one? So we all believe that that is true? Since we don't have any objection, we don't have anybody who want to critique that point or that analogy. I see Miss Harris trying to say something. Miss Harris? Miss Harris, we're not hearing you at all, you know. You have to check your audio stream, man. We're not hearing you at all.
Any better?
Yes, we're just hearing you now.
Yes, I was just endorsing that and say it is the brutal truth.
Okay. Okay.
But I had wanted
Yes.
Yes, the brutal truth. I had wanted to backtrack just a little, but not to stray too far. But with a single parent home, male and female, and I'm
Yes.
saying that not only does the female nurture the kids, she also nurture them to be monsters. You know, indoctrinate them
Yes.
in a certain way to allow them to hate or resent their fathers. You
Yes.
know, when it's hardly likely that the father would do the same. So you find that when those kids are grown, they generally want to stick to the father's side. They start to love on their father. And there's only one reason for that, because they did not get a chance to hear their father's side of the story. All the way coming up, they've been hearing your father is this, your father not good, your father is that, and your father is this. So they didn't get to hear their father's side. So they start to sympathize with the father now and start to love the father even more now. Because they then realize that the mother was the culprit. So that is why I would tend to agree with you and what the stat says, that children coming out of a single father home is a more balanced child than those coming from the single mother's home. And I also think that as parents, we have been doing a not so good job, or I could say an awful job, because we train up our little girls how to be women. Who train our boys how to be men? And I could ask that question over and over, you know, and everybody just gaze. You know, who train our boys how to be men? The mother don't do it because the mother don't know how to do it. And in most cases, the fathers are missing. And if the father is not even missing in action, maybe he too don't even know how to do it. But what we do as parents is train our little boys how not to be a girl. And in training them how not to be a girl, we push them into sex from way too early, just to prove that they are not going on the other side. I rest my case.
Very well said, Miss Harris. Very, very well said. But I want to bring your attention to the fact that it is important. Fathers are important to the girls. And if you should look at even a wedding ceremony, it is the father who gave away the bride. That is symbolic of a man handing over that female to another man, which is her husband, because a male is important to a girl. So at no time in a woman's life, there should be without a male figure or a male member within their family, or a male that is responsible for protect, because that is symbolic of, oh, I am your father. I was the one who used to provide for you and protect you. And now I am handing over you to another man who's going to take up that. It's like a relay. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. It's like a relay, handing over that baton and say, you have now been empowered with this responsibility to provide for this young lady and protect this young lady. So it's like an handing over ceremony. And that is why weddings are constructed like that. I don't know if you have any other interpretation, you know, but that is how I see it, you know. And fathers are very, very important in the homes. You know, if you see a home without a male figure, sometimes, not, I won't say, you know, all the times, but sometimes, or in some cases, it lacks discipline in the home. You know, anything goes, anything happens. The other point I want to raise this evening is that women ought to be verbally and vocally responsible for what comes out of the mouth, right? The Bible says that he that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life. It goes on to say, a wise man keepeth a still tongue. It goes on to say, the power of life and death is in the tongue. It goes on to say, we must listen and not just speak all the time. It goes on to say, the tongue is worse than a two-sided sword. So we have to be careful. Say, one thing you can't take back is the spoken word. So don't tell me the word is win. And then you say to me, man no good, man a wicked, man a thief, man evilous, man ungrateful, good for nothing, worthless, cutlass.
Man a dog, like the famous one.
If you ever stop to think that when you describe your husband or men using those adjectives, if your daughter believe you, what is going to happen? And let me tell you quickly, if your daughter believe you, then she don't want a man to be her husband. And rather worse, if your son believe you, say man no good, right? Him no want to be identified with anything masculine. He becomes effeminate and start to gesticulate with his hands and articulate and so on. So we have to be careful, guys, what comes out of our mouth. And as women, we're not to use our lips, right, to beat down men around you in general, but you should use it to uplift our men. And that is what I'm saying. Anybody else want to raise or to say something in line with what I just said?
Yes, I am in total agreement with what you said. So we have to be careful, you know, how we treat our men, how we treat our women, how we treat our boys, and how we treat our girls, how we treat each other. You know, because oftentimes you would hear women say, my mother and father for me pitney, and me want to send pitney to college and what have you. But I'm here to remind us all that even though the father was missing in action, I am certain that another man stood in the gap. Be it a spouse, a boops, a stepfather, a uncle, a grandfather, or even a coach. But another man stood in the gap while biological father was away. So I don't know if there is any such male on this platform. I just want to use the opportunity to big you up if you want.
Mr. Harris, you have just made a profound statement that I appreciate this statement so much that I will not want to forget it. Some other man plays that role, and so our females should be appreciative.
Yes.
That was a profound statement, and I'm glad you brought it up.
I guess this stick it your this stone it your mic.
Yes.
I hope it didn't hit you too hard, you know. Yes.
From a personal point of view, yes.
Yes.
You know what I want to add to all of that, though, you know, and when I make the mention of the use of the mouth and so on, you see how important it is for us to, you know, to be careful how we use our mouth, to be careful what comes out of our mouth, make it everything that comes out of our mouth palatable, make it uplifting, make it be, you know, some kind of encouragement, right? Instead of using our mouth in a negative way to tear things down, to tear people down. And what the Bible say here, it is better to live in the corner of a house than in a big house with the corner of a house top in the attic, than in a big house with a miserable and nagging woman. You see how the mouth is dangerous? So we have to be mindful of that. Let us go to Proverbs 12 and verse 4. Yes.
On that note, Mr. Morrison, I want to ask a question here. When you say to make the place peaceful and what, can I ask people on the platform, where in the house the man, male species, where this favorite place in the house for the male? Or where in the house can a male find peace? Anybody want to take on that?
Somebody in the chat says they're in total agreement.
The house, and so where in the house you think a man? Where in the house can a man find peace? Anybody want to try that? Try to answer that. Just think about you have the kitchen, the bedroom, the bathroom, the living room, the veranda. Where in the house can a man find peace? Or where he looks for peace? Anybody want to try to answer that? Mr. Morrison, you want to try?
Everywhere in the house.
Sorry?
Everywhere.
No, I heard the answer just now. The only place in the house that a man can find peace is in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And that is why when most men goes to the bathroom, they take off everything. And not only that, the only place too that they can get a little privacy. I rest my case.
Well, and that's very well said. I want to show this group.
Sometimes
not hearing you, Mike. I'm not hearing you so well.
It's like we
while you work on your audio stream, I'm not hearing you clearly, and I suspect others on the platform not hearing you clearly as well. So let me take back that one. I want to bring your attention to Proverbs 12 and verse 4, and to show you what, women powers women have. Sometimes they don't even realize that they have it. But I just want to bring, it says a virtuous woman is a crown to her husband. When a man have a crown, what he becomes?
A king.
He becomes a king. So it is saying here that the woman have the ability to make her husband into a king.
That means she's a queen automatically.
Right, and that would make her a queen. And that's the only way you get to be a queen, if you make your husband into a king. So some women does not understand this basic concept, that the only way you get to be a queen is to make your husband into a king. But if you treat, we're seeing some homes in Jamaica where the husband, or let me not say the husband, where daddy is being treated like the least member of the family. The children come before him.
Yep.
His dinner is served last.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What precedents are we setting? So we have to be mindful of that. But let me continue on that same scripture. But he said that, he says, a virtuous woman is a crown to her husband. So you give him the crown and make him a king. But he that maketh a shame is like rottenness into his bone. So if you make him a shame, good for your shame your husband, or cause him shame, The Bible says it is like rottenness in his bone. So I'm saying to women on the platform that you have the ability to do two things. You have the ability to make him or break him. So if you have the ability to make him into a king, do so. Right? But please don't make yourself or make him have rottenness in his bone, because that's a sickness. So you have the ability to make him sick, or you have the ability to make him a king. You choose what you want to do.
Can I say something?
Sure.
All right. I'm Miss George. I came on late just now.
Yes, welcome.
But what I observed though,
Yes.
the male seem to treat themselves with less, and of such, the way all you treat yourself, people will do the same. Your spouse or your children.
Yes.
I've seen too much where the man just easy back and allow the woman to just do her thing, and sometimes reach a point where the man all you can say in the house because the children realize that the mother run things, and I think that it is a male to be blamed where that is concerned. I've seen too much of that happen. The male need to take a stand and stand up as a king and don't allow female, to this, the home and in every area just because what? I'm not sure as to why. But I am having a problem with that. The males are not standing up for what they should believe in. They allow the female to do that.
Very well said, Miss George. I must thank you again for coming in and sharing your view. But it is often said that that the men are the breadwinner. The men are the breadwinner. And that is to say that they make the resources, the financial resources, they bring it home and they give it to the wife. So the wife in the home is seen as the resource allocator because she allocates a little bit of money for grocery, a little bit for light, a little bit for water. So they are seen as the resource allocator and not the husband, even though sometimes the husband works the money and brings that money home. So we have to be aware and be mindful of that as well, right? I know of homes where daddy brings stuff and money is home, and at no point the mother ever said to the kids, your father work hard or your father is contributing to this and that. No, she just spend and the children just take it that mommy is just a resource allocator.
But the thing on that, I have nothing wrong with that if he wants to give, but I think the way in which he treated himself, because I've seen a lot of persons, especially in Port Antonio, where I saw some men saying, oh, that's my wife, and very proud of what the wife is doing. But then I look at them, teeth no good, fingernail dirty, they don't even treat them, even their clothing. And I'm saying to myself, how can you allow this to happen? And they are very proud, so I always look back and I say, why is it that men won't step up to the plate and understand that I am a king, treat yourself like a king?
That's true. That's true. But also, his spouse also should treat him that way also. I think though that in some cases or in most cases, women tend to love with conditionalities, while men tend to love unconditional. Like, for example, let me explain myself before you start to quarrel with me. The woman will say, well, all right, I'll be your wife if you can provide the bread, if you can give me this, or if you can cover my expenses and so forth and so on. While the man is going to love you without any kind of, him just say, look, all I want is a little respect, nothing else. So men love unconditional, while women love with conditionalities.
I agree with you.
Can I expound on that, moderator?
Sure.
You see, a man love unconditional, while the woman love conditional. But the woman will love her children unconditional. Look at all the things our children give to us. Sleepless nights, dirty laundry, messy house. And we still love them regardless, right? We come home and the house is dirty and the wife pick up the child and say, look, that dirty house. Why you have to do the house like that? Mommy loves you. right? She didn't reprimand the child, but if her husband drops something on the floor, oh, I'm tired of this messy house. Why can't you pick up? Why can't you clean up your own stuff? Why can't? So they love their children, right? And they want to correct their husband, when in fact, they should be loving their husband and correcting their child, right? The truth being told, she loves her children unconditional, but the truth be told, your husband is somebody's son. Think about that.
Very well said. Very well said.
Yes,
Anybody else have any comments?
Yes, I
Husband
do
should
agree.
know better. Somebody said here in the chat, husband should know better.
I agree with Mike. However, as a man, you should allow her to know that I am the man and certain way you can talk to me from day one, from the get-go, right? And even if you see she's slipping up, you need to do that. I'm a female, you know, and I hate it when I see a woman talk down to a man and a man just sup it and that's it. I hate that. Man should be a man in the house. And I'm talking about growing up around neighbors, around family members. That is what I've seen. And I tell myself from then time, I make up my mind that I am not going to do certain things and I'm not going to treat anybody, child, like any boy. Understand? From then time, I make up my mind because I've seen so many broken homes, some simple things called separation. And that's one of them. I hear you said earlier, right? That is respect. Respect. You see, one of the things what I talk to couples about is that we respect the Prime Minister and the Prime Minister go want to vote or other things. We respect our boss and we want to make sure that his work is carried out or whatever the organization, the goals are met and all of that. And our spouse who meant more than just what the boss or the government want from us. That is a person we treat like some dirtbag. That I do not like, and I think we need to understand because emotion at times to do certain decision. And we believe at times that men operate, and it goes back to how we were grown. Because we have a culture, and then, you know, in our home, we have subculture and all of that and stuff. So I think that would have started for how we view men. Boys not to cry, you know, and so on. Boys not to express themselves. And so many times male grow up and they don't learn to express themselves. And when it does, it lead to some death or something that is really can cause, you understand? Some serious.
They've been suppressing their feeling for
right,
years.
Because we grow them not to express themselves. And one of the things within relationship is respect and communication. Most times men be there and then I like how their wife I talk to them and I like how so and so and then don't say nothing. Until when something and then can't take it no more, you hear everything just come out. And that's when, you know, and I believe that as a human being, as a man, you need to talk how you feel, you understand, within the relationship. Let the female know, because let me tell you something. One of the worst thing is for you to, as a woman, you are there, he's not saying nothing, and then out of the blues and seminar like that, you know, he should have, you know, said certain things from day one. No, honey, I don't like this. And you can say it with love.
Yes, but let me just add that a lot of our men are being bullied in their own homes, you know. A lot of men in Jamaica are being bullied. They can't open their mouth. They can't speak. They can't verbalize their thoughts, right? They are being bullied by their spouses or their wives, right?
Indeed.
So sometimes for peace sake, they just say nobody say nothing, right? So we have to be mindful of that. One of the things I want to bring to this platform tonight is, again, you mentioned it, love and respect. I call it the left and right concept. Left and right concept. Left and right can't be the same thing. They're in two different directions. The only time left can be right is if you change direction and going in the opposite direction. and then left becomes right and right becomes left. Right? So they can't mix left and right concept. And we talk about left and right. We talk about love, the hell concept, love and respect. Right? So bear in mind that there are two different things. Right? And that is why the Bible says, husband, love your wife. And it goes back again and it says, wife, respect your husband. All right? It says, wives, respect your husband. You know why? A wife cannot live with a man she does not respect. And a husband cannot love, can only love. A man can only be with a woman he loves. If he don't love you, he can't be with you. So a man can only be with a woman he loves, while a woman can only be with a man she respects. That's it. And that is why the Bible emphasizes on the side of the women, it says, respect your husband. But on the side of the men, it says, love your wife. And the emphasis is put on that. So it's a left and right concept.
So, moderator, I just want to expound a bit on what you were saying there.
Yes.
The Bible also speak about submission. And I know a lot of persons going to take me on this one, but I'm just conveying. I don't make the law. I just conveying what it is, right? It's about submission. Now, the Bible said that the wife must be submissive to her husband, right? But our women, Western women, see submission as foolishness, right? They see submission as foolishness. But I want to expound because, okay, they believe in the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor, etc., 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 right? But when it comes on to submission, they don't believe in it. So for the Christians on the platform, I want to say, you cannot claim Christianity and bug against submission. I rest my case.
Very, very well said. Now, I want to bring this analogy to the forefront. I think we have said a lot and, we should wrap up in a bit. So if you have any burning questions and you want to throw it out to the platform, you could do so, and we'll see how best we can just respond to you. But I want to bring you to this analogy. When you purchase an appliance or a new appliance, don't you get a manual with it? And the manual will dictate how you should set up this piece of appliance. It says, to the back you put this part, to the left you put this part, to the top you put this part, and how to put it. Right? And if you try to set up that piece of equipment or that appliance without reading the manufacturer's manual, and notice it says manual, right? If you try to set it up without that manufacturer's manual, it might malfunction. You're going to have misfit parts, right? You're going to, and it might not work effectively. And guess what? It might even damage you in the process, especially for this, especially true for electrical appliances, right? So let's say then the manufacturer for this world, right? The creator, the superior being, gave us this life, and he gave us a manual called the Bible, right? And we are trying to live without following the concepts and the precepts of the Bible, right? So we want to live without using the manufacturer manual, which is the Bible, right? And it says, above all men is God, Christ, men, women, children, and pets, right? So it says at the top, you must, this is where the spare parts called men must work, at the top. And you take it from the head and put it down at the tail, and you expect it to work good? You expect society to function good? No, it can't. You have misplaced parts and misfit parts. And that is a problem we are having in society. If you want to weigh in on that, do it quickly. Thank you. Anybody? No? Do you have any questions for us? Anybody on the platform? I think we have said a mouthful. I think we are going into 6:30. We have another 7 minutes. So if you have any questions, any concerns, right? But, you know, I want to say to you that, yes, Mrs. Berry spoke about the reality of the family finances should be controlled by both parties contributing into that, right? And then you should have your compulsory savings and so on. So I must tell you that I represent the credit union, Portland Cooperative Credit Union, that is. So that is where you must take your family savings. And that is where you must have your little compulsory savings for yourself, right? So let Portland Credit Union, I had to put that one in, right? Be your financial partner. Let us guide you in your financial decision-making process. Let us guide you as to how to borrow, when to borrow, why you borrow. Let us guide you on getting the most appropriate interest rate and the ease at which you can get loans and so on, right? How to obtain your loans at the credit union. You can always come in to us and we'll be prepared to guide you. You have any other questions for me or for any member of the panel? If not, guys, we want to thank each and every one for participating. We want to thank Miss Sharon Harris. We want to thank Miss Charlene Wallace. We want to thank Miss Shireen Waite George. We want to thank Miss Sasha Lee Hutchinson, Miss Melvin Berry, Miss Shelley-Ann Murdoch. We want to thank Miss Nicole Buckley. We want to thank all those who I forget to mention. I want to thank Mr. Michael Morrison, Mr. Ronnie Dane Renford, the person behind the scene, monitoring the conversations and guiding the technical aspect of the platform. We want to thank the Portland Credit Union for allowing us to celebrate Women's Day in this fashion. Be prepared to contact the credit union for any additional information on any one of our products and our services. And you can participate or you can contact your credit union by calling or texting our infomercial central, our information central at this number, 876-584-2382. That's 876-584-2382. If you have any questions for the credit union, you can text it or WhatsApp it to or call to this number, and you'll have a representative from the credit union responding to you, answering your questions and concern. All right. Thanks to everyone. I think we have done justice to this, our International Women's Day discussion. The view is that from all of us here, we want us to have better homes, better families, better lives, better children, and a better country. So thanks again for participating, and we will talk again. The number is shared on the platform. That's the Information Central number. So for anyone who wants to reach out to the credit union to get additional information or to contact our staff, right, you can use that number. I'm seeing Chrissy Smith as well. We want to thank you for participating. All right, so let me say to all of you, whenever again we're having this kind of discussion, we're going to be sending information to you to have you participating and weighing in on the discussions as we go. Again, happy weekend, happy Women's Day tomorrow, and all the best for the rest of the week. All the best, guys.
Thank you.